he's on his knees saying his prayers, and pow. When you do it, you grasp this concept, right, that we are all born into a collective tunnel of normality. For some reason, you realize that we're all human. We all understand in this tunnel. And then when you do something like this, you're extracted from that tunnel. And you know that there's boundaries that are never meant to be crossed between human and human. Then I was extracted. I could look into the collective tunnel, but I can never be a part of it again. My father was really abusive. He was in church, so that religion played a huge part in our family. My mother.
He was religious, but he was abusive.
Yeah, religious. They were the type of dudes that go to church on Sunday, beat your ass on fucking Sunday night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, my mother was kind of crazy too, man, because she would be the type that, would get beaten up. And then when we would try to stick up for her, she would kind of come at us sideways for trying to stick up for her. It was just weird. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have brothers, sisters? How many brothers?
I'm the youngest of 5 brothers. The brother that was closest to me, when he was 2 years old, he was playing in front of a pot of boiling water. And he was out there playing with it, and I guess something happened. The handle was protruding from the kitchen, and it kind of just spilled on his head, and it peeled back his skin. He ended up paralyzed. So
from that
accident? Burns, yeah. So the burns ended up coming to his skin. It paralyzed him. Yeah, my whole life, I was feeding him through a tube, but he was my best friend because when there was nobody to talk to, I would talk to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was my road dog. That was my best friend. So when I was 8, he ended up passing away on me. So
is this from complications of
his situation?
Right.
Mm. So when my brother passed away, we sued the hospital. He passed away in. We ended up suing him for 4 point something million. And my family ended up getting paid, but my father was an alcoholic. My father left us. He left us for 2 or 3 years, and he came back without nothing. And so we ended up in like...
it's common. You know what I'm saying? Like 90% of the lottery winners end up broke in 3 years, It's just you.
He called us, bro, because...
And he's an alcoholic. That's not good.
He got in a car wreck, crashed underneath a semi, called my mother, and he had like a cane in his back. So he had like a whole kilo inside of the back, and he got stopped, and he was worried about that kilo being found inside of his trunk.
I would be worried about it too.
Yeah,
that seems justified. That seems like a reasonable.
That was why he called us. Yeah, that was why he called us. That's the only reason he called us. And then my mom was like, "Well, he really must love us." You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, mom. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So we ended up going there. Right, I was 10, 11 years old. But my father was the type of guy to get drunk with us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, here, son, have a drink or two, I ended up drinking a lot, man. At the age of 11, now I was already an alcoholic,
Are you still going to school? I mean, or just periodically?
There wasn't really school, man, because
it's not good.
I was like moving from house to house. I couldn't even read, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I was moving house to house. During that time, my mother, she tried to unalive me. These were all things that I carried into my adulthood, you know what I mean?
Right.
So my mother tried to unalive me because she was going through some things, like my brother just passed away and stuff like that. And there was one moment that shaped my life completely, though, man. And this is the moment that I think I not blame, but had an impact on my entire life, the trajectory of my entire life. You know what I mean? And this moment was like when my father usually beat my mother. You know what I'm saying? But this time was different. They were in the room. He was, beating her up. Usually she screams, but this time I couldn't hear her scream no more. Like her scream sounded muffled. So we walk in the room, actually my brothers heard it, and then they kicked down the door. And when they kicked down that door, like my mother's sitting there on the floor, like my father's on top of her. He's choking her with one hand. The other hand has got his own shit on his fucking hand, and he's smearing it on her face. He's naked, you know what I'm saying? And I remember that. I was 7 years old, and I'll never forget the way it felt to be paralyzed, to feel fear encapsulate your entire being, like to be paralyzed by fear. That was the day that I declared war on fear. I made it a mission in my whole entire life. Like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't speak. I was shocked. Like, my hands were shaking. Like, tears were coming out my eyes and shit, But that was the day, I think, where I actually had a relationship with hatred, because hatred was my number one thing. She was almost like a mother figure to me, you know what I mean? Like was anger. I think that situation played a huge role, because from that point forward, I declared war on fucking fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I made it certain that nobody would ever instill fear in my heart again. You know what I mean? And so whenever somebody would try to talk shit or something like that, we would handle it, and I would do whatever I had to do to confront the situation. 11 years old, at 12 years old, I was homeless. I was sleeping on the streets. Well, I had a home. I didn't want to be at home.
Right.
So I was like couch surfing and shit, I ended up sleeping on the bleachers of my school, and that's where I actually met my wife. She was walking the track. She come from another home. She comes from a family that was a family, like a real family. You know what I mean? I was actually sleeping on the bleachers, and that's how we ended up having a conversation and stuff. But she goes, "Hey, man, what's going on with you? Like, what you doing out here?" You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I started talking to her. We ended up talking. But it was so strange, because I'm this kid coming from shit, and she's this person, you know what I mean? Like, she's got a mom, dad, family, and shit like that. Those were things I never had,
How long? I mean, do you at some point, like, what are you doing for? I mean, I understand you're in survival mode, but what are you doing for money? Are you burglarizing houses? Are you
pretty much?
Okay,
I'm out there. Yeah.
All right. I
pretty
mean,
much. We're out there.
Is it drugs, robbing?
Stealing alcohol, robbing people, purses were a thing. So we would go into cars, steal like speakers and like the radios, because back in the day there was like flip faces, So you can smash in the car, break the wires, and tear out the whole thing and get like $20. You know what I mean? $20 at the swap meet and shit. So we used to do that. That pretty much continued until I was 14. At 14, I ended up stealing some beer. And I was stealing beer. My father just beat my mother, and I was angry. And I ended up stealing some alcohol from like the next door neighbor's store.
You probably drink the same coffee every morning. It's fine. But what if there was something better? Trade Coffee helps you find coffee that's fresh, tastes great, and is made just for you. You take a quick quiz, and they match you with coffee you'll love. It's sent straight to your door, super fresh, from small roasters all over the country. They have over 400 amazing roasts. Whether you're new to coffee or know your favorites, they'll handpick the perfect coffee just for you. And if that first bag isn't quite right, Trade will replace it for free until they nail it. The price is on par with grocery brands, but the quality is next level. Plus, you're supporting local roasters, So it's a win-win. Trade subscription is flexible, so you can pause or shift deliveries while you're away. Once you try it, you won't ever want to go back to your old coffee. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our listeners 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/Matthew. That's drinktrade, TRADE.com/Matthew for 50% off your 1-month trial.
It was like a hood store, you know?
Yeah, like a bodega or just something. He had it in his
It
house.
was like a Smart Mart or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So we walk in there. It was an Asian store. So we go in there. I still beer, come out. I ran out. We still a 12-pack. We end up going back. Still another 12-pack, and my father still hasn't arrived. So we were actually waiting for my dad. I wanted to serve him up. I wanted to beat my dad's ass, you know. After that, the third time we kind of just walked in there, and I take out a knife and I walk in. I pull out the knife and I walk in, grab the beer, I walk out, and I was 14.
What does the guy say? I mean,
he comes out.
He sees you like this whole time. Has he seen the other thefts?
He's seen the other thefts. He tried to chase me,
but call the police.
Even if he did try to chase me, I think he understood that I wasn't stopping.
Right.
He did try to call the cops. But the third time I walk in there and I'm kind of just grabbing it. This is stupid, right? Because I'm sitting there. I know he's going to call the cops, right? Yeah, but I didn't really care, you know? I go in there, grab some beers, whatever it is, and then come out, and he ends up saying something like, "Yo, take it all. That's what I remember him saying. And I ended up taking that knife out. I had a butterfly knife. So the butterfly knives that, the switchblades that come out really quick. And that's what I had. And then I ended up getting armed robbery in the first degree.
Well, when did the cops show up?
I got completely away from the whole crime. 2 months later, I'm out there stealing car stereos, and then the cops catch me, and then they hit me up, and they tell me that they're going to charge me with armed robbery. Where were you on?
Yeah, they got a warrant for your arrest for the other thing, right? They just hadn't caught you yet.
Exactly. So I ended up doing like 2 years in Juvenile, JDH, so McLaren.
Nice place.
Yeah, fucking beautiful place, man.
Listen, so from my understanding, the juvenile facilities are typically harsher than fucked up
a lot
because, of the prisons.
Yeah, what's so crazy, right, is that there wasn't like the politics, like prison politics. It was like
they just wanted
every kid was fucking crazy, like they wanted to fight. You know what I'm saying? And every kid wanted to fight, so it wasn't like prison where there's rules. You know what I'm saying? Like where there's like, all right, bro, you can't touch that guy because the homeboy's got that dude.
Yeah.
So you can't touch him. Or if you're in the same gang, like
you can kind of navigate. You can navigate safety
exactly
in prison that you can't navigate when every single kid's ready to fucking swing.
JDH, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Because the kids were like, fuck it, boom, 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 boom. They were scrapping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, with the gladiator schools, right?
Gladiator school. I watched the kid get dropped. He was this kid. It was like, so when they shut the dorms at night, right? There's one guard. There has to be two guards in order to open up that cage and go in the dorm. So that was the time the kid chose to actually fight because he knew that there had to be two guards.
Nobody's coming.
So they would have to actually escort somebody in the dorm, like to actually stop it. This dude picks up a kid, body slams him on a bed. So the bed has like 4 points, right? It's like an old bed, like those beds with little, I forget, it's like little,
springs
or it's each bed has like 4 points. It's like these little square pieces. Well, this kid dropped him on top of the fucking spring, fucked him up, bro. Like that shit like went right through his back. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of shit that you see when you're in there. You know what I mean? Mm. Yeah, when I got out, I was 16 years old. So that's what I went through at 16.
You go back home? Are you on probation or?
Went back home. Shit, they let me back home. And then when I went back home, I really didn't want to be at home. You know what I mean? At that point, everything was a struggle. I didn't have a job. There was no school. There was no reading. You know what I mean? There wasn't shit. So I was just stuck at that point. That's when we started to sell drugs. So,
what? I mean, how does that happen? Like, who comes to you and says, "Hey, this is the way to go," or "Here's what we can do"? And
we started slanging, man, when we were kids, man. We started slaying, so we ended up robbing some people. So they had some, and then we ended up robbing those people. Got some ounces and stuff like that, selling ounces like to everybody. So we started to make money from that. And then we started to find a plug. And then that plug, that's what changed our lives, is that plug. So we found people coming back from Mexico.
Is this just for green?
Green and cane.
Okay.
So we started off with green. Ended up, man, that one moment where we actually did that, it started moving from like ounces to like pounds. And then it started moving to like hundreds of pounds. We were pushing like 200, 250 pounds a week. You know what I mean?
And and you're still, where are you living?
I'm at my mom's house at her apartment. But at that point, we ended up finding our own apartment. Yeah, because of the money that we were making. After the green came the cane. So we started selling cane. And we were pushing about like 5 or 7. So we started to move those keys, and we would take these duffel bags full of cash. Fucking bags that were huge. You know what I'm saying? Just $1,000 in each slip. You know what I mean? He ended up having a lot of that stuff, but he was a good guy. It's not like the guy you know that's this mafioso dude that looks crazy or nothing like that. He was just a humble guy. He would come, and we would give him the car keys, eat some food, give him the car keys, and he would take the car,
right,
bring it back really quick, and the car was full.
Yeah.
And then we would take those keys back, and then hop in the car. Let's go back home. And then when next thing you know, we open up that trunk, and that trunk is full. You know what I'm saying? He would never trip about like 100 grand. He wouldn't even trip about 100 grand, bro. He was like, oh well, because sometimes sometimes people would get popped. You know what I'm saying? 20 grand, 40K here, you
right.
know. And
well, usually he give you a chance,
and we would have to call him up, and he would be like, "It is what it is." I feel like he made a lot more money from us than we ever could lose. You know what I mean?
Does he give you like an opportunity to make it up, or he's just
for sure. No, he gave us chances. He always gave us chances. He was like, "Well, look at this. This is your account. This is how much you got." Instead of cutting us off, he would always hook us up with another chance.
Yeah,
so you know what I mean?
Interviewed lots of guys. I've written several stories, and they're like, they'll usually get a pass, especially if you can prove somebody got busted. Then they're like, okay,
it wasn't even a pass though. Like, he was like a genuine friend. He would come to our house and kick it, like with my mom and stuff, and hang out with us. You know what I mean? Like, right. He wasn't like this. Like, you always hear stories like, "Oh, if you don't got this, and this is gonna happen.
We're gonna drop you in a vat of acid."
Exactly. It wasn't like that at all. You know what I'm saying? He was more like we were best friends kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And if something happens, it happens to the both of us. And he would often use us as kind of like the muscle as well, because he knew who we were and how we rolled. You know what I mean?
Were there any like people getting grabbed or anything like that?
Bro,
or did you ever get robbed?
So when I grew up, bro, in the streets that I grew up in,
people get robbed and arrested all the time.
Every single day, murders. I mean, man, my best friend, he was only 15. I looked up to him. He ended up smoking 2 dudes. He smoked them point blank, boom, boom. But that's just where we come from. Like the backyard was a dungeon. You know what I'm saying? Like this is where we come from. You know what I mean?
What was the reason for that?
He ended up getting jumped. So they're walking down the path, some shit like that. Somebody else ends up trying to hit him up. What you claim, and we didn't bang, so we weren't like gangbangers,
right?
But other gangs seen us as a threat because we were a group of kids that were very violent and very fucking aggressive. So these other kids ended up hitting them up, and then it was NKT, Nightmares Come True. That's who we were. We were the ones that tag things up and stuff like that. Nightmares Coming True, and that was the thing. Like back in the day, he ended up. These dudes ended up hitting him up, and they beat him up. And a week later,
he caught up with them.
They go back and find him, behind a Ross, and just smokes them both, like 2 brothers. He got like 75 years.
Sheesh.
But like the robbing, the chaos, the type of violence, we would do shit just to do it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now I'm 16 years old, 17 years old, making money. I mean, I didn't want to be violent at that point. I just love making money. But also with money comes the arrogance, I don't know. So we ended up getting caught for selling. So I ended up getting caught at 18 years old.
For drugs?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Drugs, yeah. I ended up getting caught with 20 grand, 25 grand or something like that. Me and my brother, I told my brother I didn't want to leave the fucking hotel room. My brother's like, come on, just one more drop. Take the money. He wanted to go to a strip club or something. So we're like, all right, I'll take the money, right? So we ended up going over there. We ended up getting stopped, pulled over. He ended up taking like a wrong turn or something like that. And we pulled in at the Dairy Queen, and we seen the cops behind us. You know what I'm saying? As soon as we head out, I see the cops. I dodge and duck, grab my backpack, and I take off. I take off to an adult shop and flush the green,
right?
Like in the toilet, and I stashed the cash. I don't know, like the toilet, like dispensers. Those one things that you put on a toilet paper. On a toilet. Yeah, right there.
Open it.
Exactly.
And if there's this much toilet paper or whatever, there's a pocket.
Okay, so the pocket, I stuffed it in with 20 grand.
Right.
And I left it there, and then I left. And as soon as I walk out, call the cab, cops are just like, get on the floor.
And this is just because you ran. Not because it was just a fluke.
This is just because I ran.
This
is just because I ran. And then they ended up searching that spot at the adult shop, and then they ended up catching that money. And they came out and started high-fiving each other and shit,
And they put 5,000 in evidence.
And they said $8,000. They found me with $8,000. That's what the report said.
Right.
8,000. I know for a fact I had like 25 fucking grand there. I told him, bro, you could take the whole fucking thing, man. Just take it. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a shit. I had like 75 grand at home. You know what I'm saying?
I can tell you.
Who cares about that?
Guys I've met in the federal system, they'll kind of like convert money to drugs.
Yeah.
And so like if you're caught with like half a key, and they catch you with 25 grand, that half a key, the weight ends up being, now it's a key and a half because they know for 25 grand you get another key, so they just add the extra key, and which is fine. That's just the system. But what's funny is how many times I've had guys like they'll get pulled over and they search them and they got 25. Let's say they got 20 grand in cash, and they're like, look, if I convert this to weight, then you're going to get a mandatory minimum of 10, or I can say I only caught you with $8,000 and you'll get the 5-year mandatory. And they're like, but I can't do that and have you say you got caught with this. And guys will nope, turn the 8,000 in, turn the 8,000 in, turn it in. That's all I had was 8. Okay, that good. You know, because you just saved him 5 years for 12 grand. He just saved 5 years, and you're not getting that money's gone anyway.
Keep it, man. Like really, like you could have had that for your family with, like whatever. You know what I'm saying? In
that case, the guy feels like the cop's doing him a favor.
Exactly. Right. That's how I felt, right? Because the 25 grand, I'm thinking, dude, he fucking took, I don't know how much, you know what I mean? But he took a good chunk. And these were G stacks, bro. So we had like a pool table full of G stacks. So we'd have a pool table, and this is how we would count the money up before we took it to Santa Rosa, right? So we had G stacks the whole way through across the fucking the pool table. So we have like 100 grand, stack it up, throw it in a bag. Another 100 grand, throw it in the bag. And we had artillery like a son of a bitch, man. We were fucking pushing, bro. You know what I'm saying? I loved like pew-pews, you know?
Right.
I love pew-pews. I love pew-pews. That was my thing. I'm TikTok, so we call them pew-pews, you know what I mean?
I know.
I'm TikTok.
Same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. You can never tell a full story with
yourself. You have to
regulate.
Self censor yourself.
Exactly, man. Like so we do the TikToks. Oh, and guys, I want to say right now, I love my followers. Jen Nurse Ratchet, fucking Emily, Michelle Unicorn, Old School, Candace Foster. I love you guys so much. You guys are awesome.
What is the PDX?
PDX? That's Portland, brother.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, we come. That's Portland
Did
Airport.
You know that? No, we didn't know that.
That's Portland Airport, City of Roses. Yeah.
What does it say at the end of the bottom of the shirt?
This says,
okay,
from hopeless to focused.
All right.
So
I thought
resilient minds.
Resilient
minds. You see this?
Yeah, I thought that was the name of the channel, maybe.
Yeah, Old School Mom. Hey, I've had these followers from TikTok. They hear my story, bro. Dez, right? Like, changed my entire life. I mean, just craziness. Like, you don't even know the amount of appreciation. I went from fucking a shelter, bro, to doing this. God's been good to me, my man.
I understand.
God's been so good to me. There's no words, man. There's no words, bro. Like I'm a dude that came from the shit, you know?
I always feel like if you do the right thing, then God tends to clear the path for you. Does that make sense?
It's kind of weird how it works, right?
Things start working just much easier than probably, you know, you suffer more in your mind than in reality, but people are afraid to try and do the right thing. But if you start doing the right thing, then it just comes, it starts coming easier and easier, and good things start happening.
What trips me out, right, is that, like,
of course, some people get cancer and die, but still, for the majority,
come on, man, really, man, damn, man.
I'm saying, most of the time it works out, and most of the time it works out.
So like, what I trip out about, right, is that, like, not only are you doing something for somebody that's messed up, but like somebody that committed the crime that I committed, I have no words for that. Like, I don't know why people would see me worthy, would care about me, because honestly, I've done some heinous shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
like, my life is dark, bro. Like, my whole life.
People like redemption. They want to think that people can change. Most people don't. But if they do change, then people feel they should be rewarded. So, you know, you got to think it's in a way, and it feels for forgiveness, and I think supporting someone feels good if you think that person's doing the right thing.
I think, like, you know, having come from where I come from, right, it feels like this is all new to me. But there's never a day that I don't appreciate like the peace I feel when I wake up. I've never had peace. I've never had life. You know what I'm saying? I used to wake up and feel shamed, guilty, and angry. You know what I mean? I never felt like I deserved it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I was 18, that happened. I ended up going to prison, right?
How much time did you get?
I got like 22 months, 22 months for marijuana. Or
is that how much you got or how much you did? You got 22
That's how much I did. I think I got 24 months with good time.
Oh, okay.
And then they let me out in like 22 or something like that. I ended up coming home, and as soon as I came home, bro, I was gunning. I was like, vámonos, recio. Vámonos a la chingada, right? So we're fucking hitting that shit. We fucking hit it hard. Come home, man. We go to California like the second day out. I'm coming back with my trunk full. You know, like literally the second day out. We come back and, you know, we're doing this whole thing. And we just blow up even more, bro. This is where we start just blowing up. Like we made a lot of money, you know. Every month we would come through, I don't know, like probably more than $500,000, you know. And that's when it happened, bro. That's when it happened. We had a team of people who would respond for us if like we needed somebody to pay back the money. We had a group of people. We had like we didn't like to get our hands dirty at this point, because at this point we were more like business oriented, you know. So what happened was one of my best friends, he ended up staying in a, this is crazy, man. He was staying in an apartment right next to my house, right? And he ended up being in the apartment right next to my house. I had no idea that he was there. And I came back from something and I seen him there, and that's how he ended up at my house. He was like, Victor, what? I was like, yeah, man, what's going on? He goes, yo, man, what's going on? It's me, Chris. I was like, yo, what's going on, brother? He goes, hey, man, so I'm on my way to a party right now. I was like, nah, fuck that party. Just stay here. You know what I mean? Hang out with me. Shit, we'll get some escorts or something. He ended up staying at my house. But ain't it weird? Like, maybe seconds later, I would have never seen him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it happened. I happened to get there at that exact time, and he happened to be there at that exact time. And now he's at my house. You know what I mean? Who would ever have thought that that would be the last night he ever existed? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's just crazy. I started off like that. I showed him around my house, showed him my car. I had like TV screens in my Cadillac, you know. Had the Xbox installed, like the old school Halo. You know what I mean?
Right.
I thought I was a bad mother, right? I was like, yeah, bro, we got
video game I've ever really played.
Yeah, bro, we got like the 212s and shit, right? So the 12s were like bumping in the back, and I was like a little kid with a mean mug and some sunglasses. Just, you know what I mean? I felt like I was the complete shit. Fucking arrogant little bastard. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was the day, man. He came over. I caught him on a phone call. He was making a phone call, and he was in the bathroom. He asked to use my phone, and he was in the bathroom, this kid. And he started making phone calls to somebody, and I overheard him talking about like, yo, you guys have guns. Make sure you guys have guns. These dudes are strapped up. And I started hearing him talk. Yeah.
Is this just you home alone?
No, this is me, my cousin, and my other cousin.
And so he's in the bathroom calling in to set you up.
Yeah, I had invited him over, and I was gonna give him money and shit, like, you know, like $1,000 just for hookups. Like, I didn't care about 1,000. We would drop that on strippers in one night, you know. he ended up calling, and then that's what happened, man. I heard him, and then when he was in the bathroom, when he came out, I ended up telling him, "Hey, bro, you want to holler at me real quick?" He goes, "Yeah, what's up?" I go, "Hey, yeah, come over to my room right quick." And then he went over to my room, and when he went over to my room is when it all started. I can't say much about it, but I ended up I beat him, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I beat him. But next thing you know, he's on his knees saying his prayers, and he's looking at me, asking how to pray. And then I just see the gunshot go off, and pow, right in the middle of a prayer. He asked for forgiveness and all that stuff. Next thing you know, we go to my bathtub. Like, we carried him to my bathtub, and yeah, I remember grabbing some beers right before, and me and my cousin started drinking like before we did it, and we started talking to each other, and my cousin was in tears. And I'm like, "Yo, bro, we got to do what we got to do, you know." And we ended up like dismembering him. Never forget the way it felt, what it was like. I remember feeling like I had an outer body experience. It was weird.
Right.
It's weird, bro, because it's like, you know, you're doing it, but it's not you. It's like somebody else. It's like looking at yourself from the top of a ceiling. I'll never forget the way it felt. It felt like we're all born, like you grasp this concept when you do it, this concept, right? That we are all born into a collective tunnel of normality. And you realize that, for some reason, you realize that we're all human. Mm-hmm. We all understand in this tunnel. And then when you do something like this, you're extracted from that tunnel. And you know that there's boundaries that are never meant to be crossed between human and human. Then I was extracted. And from that extraction point, from that other like dimension of sorts, I could look in to the collective tunnel, but I can never be a part of it again. And that way, like, you're isolated. You always long to be a part of that culture again, a part of that group of people, but you know you're not. Like you'll never be. You know what I mean? You're forever distracted. You're forever extracted, and you're forever condemned in that area because of who you are, what you know you are. And I think it's been one of the saddest things I've ever had to endure in life in general. You know what I mean?
Obviously it's a different experience, but it's funny. My wife and I will be at dinner with somebody, and you hear them talking about, they're very middle class, normal people,
right?
And they're having these conversations, and she and I we're sitting there, right, and you'll glance at each other, and both of us, because my wife did 5 years for an ICE conspiracy. My wife did. She did 5 years for an ICE conspiracy, and these people will be talking about very normal things, kids, soccer games, school plays, and you'll glance at each other. We'll glance at each other,
really?
And you'll have that moment of, you feel like we don't belong here,
like, or I don't belong here.
You know,
exactly.
Or people that know your story, and you're at dinner with them, and they kind of go around. They all talk, but they never get to the point where they talk to you or ask you, because they know
we don't want to touch that.
Right. I can't say anything. We don't want to kind of include them because we know that their story is so vastly different. It will make them feel uncomfortable. Like, it won't make us feel uncomfortable. We kind of laugh about it. We kind of like, which I understand is different, but I kind of feel like that. Like you're always on the outside, even when you're in the thick of it with everybody else. You know, and your friends know we don't belong in this situation.
So with my wife's kids now this is another story completely, but like I found her. She found me on a TikTok live because I blew up on TikTok, right? So we're doing these lives. And my beautiful wife, man, she used to come to visit me and she used to put in so much work for me. She used to go drive 8 hours just to visit me, get a hotel, put $200 while she had a 7-Eleven job, you know? And it was the most precious thing anybody ever done for my ass because I never had nothing. Yeah, just talking about it gets me emotional, man. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, like nobody is ever given two shits, you know? So she would bring her kids and stuff. And now I'm out here with her kids, with her, and I'm looking at them, and they got this weird way, this family, like that dynamic where they come home and they tell each other how their day was.
Right. You're totally foreign to how you were raised. You're just like, right? Like,
yeah. So I bought like 2 shirts the other day, and they're like, okay, so we do like a show and tell, like a haul, or I guess they call it haul. Like we do a show and tell here, Victor. So when you come in and you buy things, like we all like to see it and stuff and see what you did. And I was like, a haul. Like these are kids. They're
it makes sense to me, right? Like, you know, it's like at Christmas, you kind of go around, like,
yeah, they want to show
open
it.
your presents, you open it. What'd you get? Oh my gosh, Joe so and so got me this, and you know,
right? Yeah, they brag about it. It's like this is what we got. Right. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the problem is that that's a normal family, and you don't know what that is.
And I'm like, huh? Why? Yeah. Like, but the kids, like they
that's good stuff.
Yeah, man, they're so good to me. So her family, that dynamic, right? It's like it's so strange to me, and I realize that like sometimes when me and her are like walking through Costco or something like that, I'm like stuck in that moment, like where the fuck am I at? Like I was in solitary confinement with some of the baddest motherfuckers, and we were stabbing each other, and we were, you know what I mean? Sorry, shanks, shanks. You know what I'm saying?
And now you're discussing.
And now I'm out here.
Should we buy the Jiffy Juice because it's 20 cents cheaper, or should we go buy the big pack?
Exactly right.
And you're like, and then it's kind of like, what the fuck am I doing? I used to drop $1,000 a night on a stripper. Like,
yeah. And now she looks at me and she's like, right? She's like the most precious human being. Well, for me, right? Because so she got this, Matthew. She got this for me 20 years ago. And she bought the prayer hands right here, you see, because she knew that I was getting sentenced to a long time. And she bought this for me. She wasn't ever going to give it to me because at first I thought that I was getting life without. But she gave it to me. And then she kept it this whole entire time. And now she gave it to me actually in person in the bow. And so that's why I'm wearing it right now. It's like 20 years later, she actually gave it to me in person. And it had the bow, everything to it. You know what I mean? So I was like, holy shit. Ain't that wild, bro, that you're loved beyond anything that I could have imagined, you know? For somebody to hold on to something like this for 20 fucking years, you know what I'm saying? It's wild, man. It's wild. Like,
well, let's go back to the tub.
All right.
So
let's do it, brother. Damn, that's a stark contrast, man.
Sorry.
Let's go, brother. Let's go. Hold on. Let me take a drink first. Yeah. All right, man. Let's go.
So what do you garbage bags and throw them in dumpsters?
Damn, Matt, really?
I'm sorry. All
right.
You know what's so funny is, funny is probably not the right word, but
yeah, maybe not in this instance.
No, if a grown man can have a best friend, my best friend would be a buddy named Pete that I was incarcerated, right? Because you meet the best people there. It's funny, right? You know, and his case, there was 2 murders, and they disposed of the bodies, you know, in dumpsters, right? Like they put them in. You know, the guys were killed. They put them in sleeping bags, and they, in the middle, you know, taped them up. In the middle of the night, they threw them in a dumpster, and then one body was never found again. And then the other one was, it was actually found by like a homeless guy who went into the dumpster just before it got, and that was it. You know, they called the cops. Hey, this is what I just found. Right. So I'm just wondering.
No, this was bags. So this is a part that I've never shared on other podcasts or stuff like that. This is something that's going to come out with the documentary. I'm doing a documentary and a book, but he was there for 3 days, Matt. Yeah, he was there for 3 days. Are
you guys discussing like, what are we going to do? We got to. Aren't you concerned though? This guy was on the phone with someone.
Yes,
but he was on the phone.
Oh, yeah. So that was another thing, right?
I mean, somebody's looking.
So when he was on the phone, he was talking to some people. When we were doing this,
his phone's going off.
No, 2 dudes come to our house with masks and pew-pews.
Right.
They come to our house with pew-pews, and they're black dudes with their masks and their hats to the side. There was 2 in the front, 1 in the back, and they came to the house. I was this close, Matt, this close to putting one through that door. You know what I mean? But we couldn't because he had already been deceased at that point.
So, and there's not enough room in the bathtub for 3 more. Sorry.
Thank you, Matt.
Appreciate
you for that one. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
I mean, you know, if they come through that door, they're
done.
Yeah, they're done. I mean,
the type of stuff that we had.
Yeah,
they're done, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? These are hollows. They knocked twice and took off, and they got in like a little green Honda and just took off. You know. But I'll never forget the way I felt when I was sitting there, like, locked and loaded. You know what I'm saying? Like, just waiting, like, come on, is it going to happen? Man, the nerves you feel, you know what I'm saying? Knowing that somebody's in the tub right now, you know what I mean?
It's
wild. Wild as fuck, man, you know?
I'd love to say it's the same thing in the mortgage industry. And
fucking quit it.
It's vastly different. It's vastly different situation. So
a lot of similarities, man. Yeah, a lot of similarities. You know the way the
sorry, it's like
interest rates.
Right,
you know?
Right.
Interest rates play a big part.
I had that underwriter right where I wanted it.
Right there. You know.
So 3 days, you got to get rid of this.
We ended up calling some dudes from a biker club.
Listen, I don't understand. That sounds like the same thing with my buddy Pete. Like they're calling people to it's almost like
they had told us, Matt. They had told us. Look,
if you ever need anything,
we're here. It was such
like
bullshit though,
like
because
Pulp Fiction.
It is, but they're full of shit though, right? They're like these dudes who are like, bro, all right, brother. Yeah, well,
you ever need anything?
Yeah, we got you, brother. Brother this and brother that. Fucking come time. Fucking pussy ass. Like, you know, they were the ones that told on us.
Really?
So, yeah, it's crazy.
See, my buddy Pete, they called they called these guys, and they were like, yeah, we can't have anything to do with that. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, this is you told us. And he called like multiple people that had said the same thing. Like, you ever need anything? You ever need it?
But you know what happened too, though, right? So in their defense is that my cousin went out, and we promised to keep it Nobody would say nothing. Nobody would say a word. And he ended up going to another state and telling my aunts and uncles what had happened. And those are the ones that ended up calling the cops on us. I always felt like he snitched because it was like when you go and tell other people about something me and you did, you know what I'm saying? You're pretty much toast at that point. like because you're pretty much putting us out there. And those were the ones who called the cops on us.
So it's been 3 days. You guys are having a discussion about getting rid of these let's say garbage bags.
And then we call those guys from the biker club.
Okay.
And they say, all right, brother, what do you got? And then we gave them some money. Yeah, well, not money, but some other stuff. And then they go, all right, we can meet you over here. And then we got another buddy to bring a truck. He brought the truck in. So we used to have these duffel bags, right? So we got the hefty bags, and then we got the duffel bags. We put the hefty bags full of the parts, and then we put it inside of like the duffel bag, and then carried the duffel bag into the truck, and then like we ended up taking it over there.
And so these guys pick it up and they take it, or the cops
And
grab
they
it?
take it.
They
take it, and then we think that it's gone. It's never going to be found again because that was the assurance we had. Lo and behold, that wasn't it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how that went down. And then when the cops started coming and asking questions, I was kind of waiting. I thought that I was fucked because.
So wait.
Like my cousin had been saying so many things.
The cops. Wait a minute. So how long before the cops show up, and how did they show up? Months. So you feel you're okay for months?
I did not feel okay. Not okay. I felt like I told you, brother. Like once you step into that dimension, you're always in that dimension. So I wasn't free from the moment that we did this. I was completely fucked. Like my mind was fucked. I was thinking like, how am I going to live the rest of my life like this? Because if this is my destiny, I'm pretty much fucked. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like regardless, you know, like I ended up hearing the phone calls that were coming in talking about, hey, your cousin's saying this, your cousin's saying that, your cousin's saying this. And my stomach just starts to boil. And I'm like, why is he telling people that?
Yeah.
And then I called him up, and then he starts crying. He's like, you know, I'm having nightmares, brother. I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. And I'm like, what? I mean,
the time for guilt is over. Like that's
that shit's done, bro. Like that shit's between you and God, homie. You know what I'm saying? And the rest is between me and you. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he was out there, because Matt, there was times that I thought I wanted to talk to, like have somebody there to communicate the fact that we just did this, you know what I'm saying? And I couldn't. I just kept my mouth closed because you have to. Mm-hmm. These are things that come with what you do, you know what I'm saying? So when he went out there and he started saying that, I started getting calls from family out there saying, Victor, please tell me that he's lying, that you guys didn't really do this. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, no, he told us what you guys did. I go, what are you talking about? I'll go get him. He's intoxicated right now. Let me just go and get him. I assure you, he's not in his 5 cents. So I ended up, when I was on my way there, the cops ended up busting him.
The cops bust him for what?
Because the people called the cops on him. So they called him. They said there was a body, this, and that, and then they had to send out a search warrant out here in Salem, Oregon, for the person that was missing for 4 months. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but you don't have a body.
But they got the missing persons case, and they got a bunch of people saying, "Oh, that's Victor's best friend." You know what I'm saying? Right. So I was like, fuck.
So how long do you get, like, that's not I mean, in Florida, I don't think, in Florida, you would have to have, those accusations aren't enough most likely without a body or a significant
amount
of evidence.
In fucking Salem, they would toast you. in Salem, they don't give a shit. Well, I mean, so here,
they're burning women for being witches in Salem.
Not that Salem, bro. Not that. Salem.
Okay, I was going to no. Okay,
no, in Salem. So they had these people saying who,
that's Massachusetts.
Bro, that's not Oregon, brother.
Sorry,
man. Really, man.
Listen, I was. My knowledge of geography was taught to me in Florida. Okay, so not the greatest school system.
Right? Of course, so I know there's wholeheartedly
13 Confederate states, and there's a bunch of square states up north. That's
of course, of course.
That's all I know. That's all they were concerned when I was growing up. These are the ones you need to see. Don't leave here. I committed all my crimes in those states. Guys are like, why didn't you go other places? I'm like, I'm in the South. I'm just hitting the South.
Yeah. So it wasn't a thing. It was like, okay, he was missing for 4 months. Mm-hmm. So his family started to put up flyers. I went to eat tacos one day, and I was eating tacos, bro. I go to the taco stand. Motherfucker.
There's fucking flyers
right there in my face. I was like, no tacos for me.
On the thing?
On the taco stand, his big old face right there. Missing 4 months. If anybody has any questions, Christopher Lampkin case.
Well, so they grab they grab your cousin, and then you say you're on your way there, and the cops pull you over. Or when you get there, the cops grab you.
No. I am not caught. The cops got my cousin.
Okay,
and we had gotten calls that he was already caught. We had went to go to talk to my cousin.
Sounds like a you problem.
We weren't going to talk to my cousin if you pick up what I'm saying. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. No. That's over.
Yeah,
those days are over.
That's over. I was gonna go take him fishing. We were gonna be hanging out, and then I was gonna have the talk with my cousin. Before I got there, the cops had picked him up, so we didn't ever get a chance to talk to him. But he ended up going to prison, and he had told me, "Oh no, bro, don't worry, I got this." He didn't say nothing, bro, and the thing that we agreed on, right, that he would take the whole thing, make it, like because of what happened, right, how it occurred, and so that didn't.
I don't feel like this is that's what I don't feel
like. It really pissed me off. I was like, all right, cool. So I ended up seeing him in prison. We ended up fighting. I beat the shit out of him in prison in front of all his little friends and shit. So,
so how do you end up in prison?
Shit, because of the murder.
Well, no, I understand. I'm saying right now we've got you sitting in a car. Your cousin's been arrested.
Okay, yeah.
You're at home.
For sure.
You're getting some phone calls. Your cousin's in jail, and you're saying. You're like, yeah, it sounds like sounds like he's got some issues going on.
Like, I don't know what his
yeah, that sounds like a you problem, not my problem.
So the cops end up coming and getting me investigated. I don't know how they got half. My paperwork is like 1,500 pages long. It's a big old stack of paperwork. They got me. My first offer was 47 years. 37 years was the second.
Okay, well, wait a second. They grab you. They arrest you.
Yeah, they arrest me.
Like they didn't arrest. Did they arrest you just on your cousin's word?
No, he did not say a word. My cousin did not say a word. Then it was other people that were saying that me and him did this, and then they investigated. They don't need much, Matt, to get you. When you're arrested, you're arrested. They don't give a shit. They're like, they felt like I did something, and half the shit that they heard was false. So, but that's what they're going on. That's what they present to the DA. That's what happens. They never included the fact that he was trying to invade our home. They never included that. They said that we did this because we're bad people and he owed us money. That was never the fucking case, and I'll continue to say that until my last breath. You know what I mean? But yeah.
So you're getting. So you're arrested. You're in prison. No bond. I'm assuming.
No bond.
You're being. Do you get a private attorney?
Yes. So man, Paul Furter.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul Furter. He was expensive attorney.
Right. What's he saying?
He's saying, yo, we got this. We got this. Don't worry. Gets me a deal. Okay, cool.
Gets you a deal.
He said, we're good. So we got a deal, bro. You're going to beat it. He said, you did not do nothing. I said, I did not do nothing.
Right.
Right. And then they find my cousin's girlfriend.
And
she's state's evidence.
Right.
She's state witness. And she said, I seen Victor do this. I seen Victor do that. Victor's a psychopath.
Was she there?
She was there.
Ah, that's not good.
That's not good.
A bad situation.
But you know what, man? This is the first time that I'm actually going to say this, all right? At that moment, she almost didn't make it out of that house.
Right.
She had no idea. And I saved her life. She almost didn't make it out of that house, you know?
Right.
I saved her life. And she ended up, well, not that I feel like God or anything, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have the right to put her in that situation anyways. But, like, her life turned out so messed up, bro. So bad for what we did, you know what I mean? But I did save her life, man.
Okay, so
she was going to get the business.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying.
And
I understand.
I stopped it.
Right.
Yeah.
But so eventually she ends up going to the police, or they talk to her. She says, yeah, I was there. This is what happened. This is what these guys did.
And that's what they had on me.
Right.
That's
so they've
what
got
they held
her. So they have her ready to testify. And she's explained probably that these other guys picked him up or picked it.
She says so much, Matt. She says so much. She says everything about me. She says
the other guy, do they end up talking to the other guys that picked up the bags?
No, she said more on me than anything else. She hated me for some reason. So,
well, I mean, and you know,
I can understand.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, not for some reason. You know what I mean?
She's doing the right thing. Let's face it.
And she was doing the right thing.
You know, so
for some reason.
Right.
Please edit that shit out, man. All right, bro. For some reason.
Basically, your fear at this point is she's going to get on the stand. She's going to say exactly what happened. You can't go to trial. I'm thinking trial. Like, I mean, I'm assuming your lawyer's thinking trial until she shows up. Until she shows up. Oh, he's not even saying trial.
He said no. They got way too much, because if your cousins say what your other cousin told him, you're fucked.
So you already have multiple people ready to get on.
Bro, like a million people, because my cousin went out there and started telling people that we did this.
Right, so that's hearsay. They need him.
It does not matter.
They need They got a few people to say.
It does not matter, bro. Like in my case, I was gonna get a beautiful deal, right? But because of what so many people heard, and then that lady right there, that girl, she changed it all. She was actually there. She's seen me.
Oh yeah. So
and
there's too many people that are cooperating for you to
and
try to go to trial.
Seen that I did some other stuff prior, so she implemented that in that case too. She's like, "This is a crazy son of a gun. This dude should not be out here." You know what I mean? So that's how they pop me. And so I get 47 was the first offer. 37 was the second. 27 was the last. I'm thinking about unaliving myself at that point. I really didn't care. I was born in chaos. I'm done with this shit, you know? That's kind of the mentality I had.
How real quick, how old were you at this time?
I was, I don't know, like 19. 20 years old.
So let's say 20. So at 20 years old, you're being offered 27 more time than you've been on this earth.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
With good time, you're still looking at doing what? 20?
Shit, I wasn't
more? You weren't
about to
even thinking.
find out. I was like, screw that. That's done. Hope is gone. Hope is something that happens to other people, not for me. You know what I mean? So when I got there, that's what happened. And they say, all right. They go, all right, we'll go to trial. I was like, okay, if I got anything more than 20 years, I was going to call it quits. Mm-hmm. I'm good. You know what I mean? They can find me in that cell, put me in a bag, take me out, you know? But the mom and dad came up, told the DA, had a conversation with the DA, and actually talked to him. Hey, we still don't have the head and legs.
So they found pieces?
Mm-hmm.
They did find pieces.
They found pieces, not the head and legs.
Okay.
And I hate to say it, but it's the only thing that saved me, Matt.
Right.
Because they wanted closure. So the deal, they came back at me and said, if you tell us where the head and legs are at, we give you 180 months plus the time served in county jail. 180 months. That's 15 years. I was like, where do I sign this? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do I sign this? Because at that point, I'm thinking, I'm going to do life. Like, how did this even come through? Because they wanted closure for their boy, you know? And so when I'm in actual court, I'm sitting there and they want a written letter to the mom. And I'm sitting there. How do you talk? What do you say? You know what I'm saying? What do you say? Like to somebody's mother, you know what I mean? Right. After you did what you did, there's no, I always get this in my chat, you know, like, have you ever talked to the mom? What would you say if you could? I can't say nothing. I can't even communicate with them, nothing. But what I said was, I hope you can forgive me, not for my sake, but for your own, because after a loss like that, I could imagine, you know what I mean? I'm the number one focus of your hatred. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I could completely understand that, you know. I think I wish that they would understand, though, you know what I mean? Like, when you do something like this, bro, the like the penitentiary walls don't got shit on the walls that you incarcerate yourself in. Mm-hmm. There wasn't one person that passed away. There was two. You know what I'm saying? I was included in that. When you do something like this, you really do enter another world, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's no words to express that world. That's a dark world, you know. There ain't no love, bro. There ain't no peace, you know. So yeah.
So you give them this information. They recover.
No, they never found it.
Oh wow. Okay, but you still get the
yeah. We took
years?
them to the park. Yeah, we took them to the park. There was a park out there. We took them to the park, and there was nothing there. I got the 15 though. So I was like, all right, cool.
So you go to what? The pen?
I go to prison. Yeah, I go to county. I was in county for 18 months or 20 months. And then I go to Two Rivers.
What is Two Rivers?
At Two Rivers Prison. And as soon as I walk in there, it's fucking dark, brother. Mm-hmm. Everybody's fighting.
Is this like a maximum security prison?
Maximum security. Maximum security. I'm
assuming based on the crime.
Yeah. Two Rivers is maximum. So you go over there, there's walls. You don't see the outside. It's just like a little yard. You walk in, you walk around in.
How many people are in that?
100 people.
100 people?
Inside of the units. There's 100 people to every unit.
Oh, how many in the whole prison?
And there's 22 units, 2,200
Oh, 2,200 people. Okay.
2,200 people, but the units are very dark. So there's only 4 units that are mainline. So the 4 units have two for South Side, 2 for North Side. But the other ones are all PC. So they're protective custodies. But high levels like protected custodies, like like the P Diddy's of the world. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like this dude's got to not be here because this dude will get touched. You know what I'm saying? So they actually signed that off. But where I was the 4 units. So where you come in there and everybody's like from a different prison in there for bad things, and that was the first prison that I went to, and it was crazy. I was like, what the fuck? It was wild. Seeing some dude get his face sliced open, like almost like the 4th day in there. His like cheek was flapping because the knife went right through his, or the piece went right through his cheek. You know what I'm saying? And this was my introduction to the prison facility like this, you know. And I knew that I had 15 years, but at the same time, I was like, there's no way that I'm going to wait 15 years here. Fuck no. You know what I mean? So I just started fighting, like almost immediately. I got broken face right here. That's a plate right here. I got my knuckle broken. See right here. Little plate. That's a plate in my hand. I got poked right here in my head. That's a bite mark from a cell fight. I became a shot caller at the age of 24 for the Paisa gang in prison. And it's funny, right? Because that's one gang that nobody talks about. But we're the ones that call the shots in there. They're like, without a doubt. We're the Paisas.
Yeah, the Paisas ran all the
why doesn't prisons. Nobody talk about it though, right?
They don't have a really cool name.
Exactly.
You have to have a Latin key. You have to have
exactly like a cool name.
Paisas is what basically means what, like brothers or
brothers, a union.
Yeah, you got to have.
And we're the biggest gang in there. And let me tell you, nobody fucks with us. You know, we're the largest ones, and they say that the gangs can do what they can. But the Paisas do what they want. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't, and we're actually pretty nice people. It's like we're not bullying people or extorting people. Like we're not doing that stuff. We're like the most peaceful gang. But when somebody fucks with us, and then we tear that yard up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's exactly how it is.
Sure, the Paisas too. When like Mexicans would come on the pump, you know, they immediately. They
go
got soup.
Check them up. Soup.
They got soup. They got
shoes. Everything.
Shower slides. Yeah, they've got a lock. They've got like they get like a whole.
That's
they
the
come in
homeboys.
with a whole fucking kit.
Soap, all that, hygiene, toothpaste. You know what I mean?
Starter
kit. Starter kit. You were in prison, brother. You were in prison, man.
Listen, the white guys,
they don't get shit.
You get a lock. You might get shower slides.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, but there's also the benefit of there's not a lot of white guys. You know, at least in my prison. So it's like you got like 30 or 50 guys, and usually these guys don't have any money. Everybody's giving up on them.
So you have heard of the Paisas.
Oh yeah, in the medium, there was a ton of them in the medium and the low, but in the low, there's not really no.
I hear these dudes, right, saying like, "Oh yeah, brother, you know, shot caller of this gang and that gang," right? And I'm thinking like the Paisas were like largest gang in fucking prison. I don't know why nobody talks about them.
Well, I think because these are guys that are not in your case. Well, even kind of in your case, like you said, you weren't in a gang on the outside. It was just a group of guys, and that's very much what they are. It's like, hey, we have numbers. We need to click up. We need to keep each other safe. But you're not trying to cause any problems.
No.
Like we're not trying to run all the drugs.
No, we're not trying to do all that.
They're not. No. They're like they just want peace,
just to do time
and to be safe.
But when you fuck with one.
Yeah, well, that's the safety, isn't it?
You get the whole burrito.
Right. That's the safety point, right? Like if you fuck with one guy, now you have a problem. Like we're not bothering you.
Like we're not doing nothing to start issues.
Right. But if there's an issue, there's
But if there's an issue, we're going to handle it. You know what I mean? And like that's the number one thing that we did. So when I was a shot caller, I started to utilize that as a way to utilize strength and power. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. So I don't care how tough these other guys are. Like, if I have the powers behind me, then pretty much we can do whatever we want. You know what I mean? And then we can go to war. You know what I mean? And I took us to war like twice. That's where the
right.
That's where the faceplate came from.
and this is like riots in the rec yard.
Yeah, at Two Rivers. Yeah, but I got a lot of respect for that. You know, I wish that I could talk about what happened, but I can't because you know what I mean.
Yeah, because you've done enough time in prison already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like you know what I'm saying.
There's some stuff
I'm
that just
good,
never goes
bro.
away.
Yeah, I can't talk about it. Let's just say allegedly somebody ended up stabbing this dude in the face, and he was poked somebody in the face. He had like a whole poker sticking out of his face, and I had my face broke, and the situation was critical.
I was in the medium security prison, and a riot broke out in the pen. And like, I think it's pen 1.
Bro, there's no words to express the way you feel when you're in a riot.
Yeah, well, I wasn't in the riot. We just heard the riot. You could, from the medium.
And you were shitting your pants.
Everybody needs a good pair of jeans. What I like about the Perfect Jean is that the moment you put them on, they feel like sweatpants. They don't ever pinch or bind up. As a matter of fact, they're super stretchy. There's never any point where you feel like they're binding up on you or they're tight or they pinch you or anything like that. They're comfortable in pretty much any position that you sit in. They're really great. They're comfortable and they look great. And the best part is our listeners get 15% off their first order plus free shipping at theperfectjeans.nyc or Google The Perfect Jeans and use promo code COX15 for 15% off. Normally, a good pair of jeans costs anywhere between $150 to $200, but The Perfect Jeans are reasonably priced at $79.99. For a limited time, our listeners get 15% off their first order plus free shipping at theperfectjean.nyc and use promo code COX15 for 15% off. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with promo code COX15. Please support our channel and tell them we sent you. Your khakis, get the Perfect Jeans. You could hear the gunshots.
Yeah,
you could hear the concussion grenades. Then they locked us up. We're like, we're not. Of course, all the guards have to go to that facility. Now it's 300. It's probably 100 feet away, or 300 feet away, 100 yards away from our facility. And so of course they lock us down. You hear the concussion grenades, you hear the screaming, and then the helicopters come in. Like they're landing helicopters because multiple inmates were fired on. And that's serious, and obviously because these guys don't have guns, right? Like this guy shot from the towers.
This is like pew-pews.
And helicopters
equalizers.
They end up leaving. There was a newspaper article that I wish I could find. I actually had it at one point. The problem is it might be out. I'm sure it's out there. Somebody could find it. When the article comes out, it talks about how there was a riot in the Coleman facility. Right? They don't mention which part. There was a riot in the Coleman facility. There were over 300 and some odd people involved because there's only like 500 guys in the pen.
Right.
And they said helicopters come in, like whatever. Two correctional officers were injured, 6 inmates. I want to say there was a death. And that several inmates were life flighted to the hospital.
That's what happened.
And then they said that the Coleman facility, right? Facility, not pen, but the facility holds such infamous inmates as Conrad Black, which was the guy that was locked up, and Matthew Cox. And then it says
Matthew Cox, the big shebang.
Then it says
what? The serious gangster, triple OG, Matthew Cox.
And it says
Matthew Cox, a very dangerous dude.
We're unsure which area of the prison he was in during the riot. Like, if you read this, you think I was in a riot. I'm in the medium in my cell going, looks bad over there. They're bringing in helicopters. Hey,
like, look at guys, look at guys.
Boom! I mean, they're you hear boom, and we're ducking. Whoosh.
Like, oh my.
But if you have,
my Lord,
if you read that article, you'd be like,
Matthew Cox was like pew pewing fools.
You can see me in the rec yard with two fucking two
like,
big
what's
ass
up,
shanks.
y'all? You want some?
Duct tape to my hands.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know.
That's fucking hilarious.
I had a cellie named Stu who used to tell us about how they would. He's like, we would put the duct tape on the on the shake. He said, and then we duct tape it around our hands. He goes, because you know how it is, Cox. You know how when
what happens, Cox?
Yeah, he goes, you know that blood's slippery. You know, and I'm like, no, I don't know. Stop telling me these
stories. I
stories.
really don't know. They're horrible stories.
This is horrible.
And I'm not going to tell you mine no more.
Okay.
Anyway,
I used to hate the guys that would come in from state and tell state stories. I have to leave. I can't be.
These state stories are crazy, right? Because they usually put shit on them. They put shit on the knives, or they'll have rust on them.
So wait. You know why? You know why they do that?
Shit. Infect them.
Because if they just stick them a little bit, they're dying within a few days.
And if you catch somebody off the basketball court, he's fresh out of playing basketball and that blood is flowing. So what you got right there is a cool case. Stick him really quick and he'll bleed out faster. Infection. And then you got the rest. The rest will also...
Sounds good.
These are strategized ways of hurting another human being. Horrible. Like, what kind of system do we got when we actually have this implemented into our system, saying that? I hate, Cox, man, when they say, Victor, do you feel you were rehabilitated? I go, first of all, I take offense to the term rehabilitation because to be rehabilitated assumes that you were rehabilitated to begin with. In my case, that's not the case. Right. I come from chaos. I come from shit. I don't know nothing else. Show me another way and I'll do it. I don't fucking know how. How do I make you guys understand that I do not know how? I got my driver's license first time at 37, you know. I didn't even know how to fucking drive a car, man. My PO wanted me to pay back my fines, and I'm like, I can't even get a job. I don't got a bike. What are you talking about? This is my first time out here in 20 years.
Did you get a driver's license? Like when you were leaving, did you get a driver's license in prison?
No, fuck no.
No, so
no.
You
there ain't no driver's license in prison.
Well, no, wait a minute. In Coleman, they don't do it anymore. They had something called the Flow Bus, which was the Florida bus. It was a drive for the driver's license. I actually walked out of prison with a driver's license.
What?
Right. The effort that you have to go to do that, and people don't realize. Like they're like, oh, you went at the halfway house. Oh yeah, so you. They don't realize, like, no, you don't understand the agony, the effort it takes. You get to the halfway house and they think, oh, well, you go get a job. No. I have to get a driver's license. First, I have to order all my documents. Oh, you go get a driver's license.
Social Security.
So birth certificate. Proof of residency.
How do you even get that when you first come out? Don't even know. How do you utilize a fucking phone, right? So when I came out, I was trying to find... Okay, I'm going to go. I literally thought that to apply to a job meant you had to go to the spot. So I would go, I'm like, well, I'm going to go job searching, guys. Walking from place to place. And they're like, yeah, we don't take applications like this, or you got to email us. I'm like, how do I use the email? I don't even know how to use the email. I don't have an email. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the simple things that people don't really realize when you're not a part of this world. You're not a part of this world. You can be in a room full of 1 million people and still feel alone. And I didn't call home until I found my wife. Because when I met my wife and we were actually out here hanging out, I could cuddle with somebody, talk about all my bullshit and cry and hang out with her kids and just chill. That was me coming home. I didn't realize, man, Matt, what was wrong with me until I came out. I was only able to figure out what was wrong with me when I came home. Because when I came home, I realized I got major PTSD, brother.
What year was this?
It was 28 months ago. I want to say 2022. Yeah. Yeah, 2022 or 23, something like that.
Did they send you to a halfway house?
No, I was in a homeless shelter, bro. So
why
I
no?
went with my brother. I didn't have family, man. So everybody forgot about me. Nobody was there for me. I came out, found my brother, and it was like, what the fuck, right?
Well, wait. What do you mean you came out? Like what?
I came out of prison.
Well, no, I understand that. I'm saying like I'm saying they let you. Did they literally let you like walk out the gate, or they give you a bus ticket? Like where are you going? Like where do they think you're going when you leave here? They don't give a fuck.
They didn't give a shit. They don't give a fuck.
No halfway house?
No, fuck no. They didn't even talk to me. They're just, this is your date, Vic. Get up, roll it up. I was like, okay,
You
cool.
don't have it. You don't have a counselor? Were you able to put in to get into a halfway house in your state?
No. It was like, we're just coming home. Like, do you need something? No, we can give you some toothpaste, armpit, like deodorant. Aside from that, shit, well, good luck, Vic. You know what I'm saying? And so I came home and I was thinking like, okay, I'm with my brother, but he was drinking a lot. So I'm like, fuck, I want to stop drinking, man. But fuck, I couldn't stop drinking. One, because of the trauma that I fucking went in there. It was like every day that I woke up, I would fucking have nightmares. You know what I'm saying? And then like, it was hard, bro, like dealing with my crime, because every time that I went out with my brothers, I would see places like my victim's house, you know, stuff like that and shit like that. So it made it very real that I was out here. Do you deserve to be out here? What do? You know what I'm saying? How do you proceed? You know what I mean? So my brother was drinking. I was sleeping on his couch, and I stayed there like for a year on his couch, and I was trying to make ends meet. And
Are you working?
Yeah, I got a job at a gas station. I was pumping gas.
Where somebody else pumped? You pull up and
I'm in Salem, Oregon, bro. We pump gas for people.
Really?
I wish they did that here.
Nuts.
Yeah, we pump gas for people.
For the exact opposite reason. For them, it's freezing cold. For us, it's like I don't want to get in that heat.
Yeah,
I don't want to get out of here.
Exactly, because I was pumping gas in the storm, in fucking ice cold storm, right? So we were pumping gas, but like, yeah.
What
so
does
I
that
got
pay?
there.
Is that minimum wage?
$13.75 an hour.
40 hours a week. That's
no,
what, $500?
It wasn't 40 hours a week.
No,
it was like 30.
It was like 30.
20.
Because at 40 they have to pay. They have to pay for health insurance.
No overtime, because they don't want you to get that overtime.
Yeah.
They're like, nope.
And you're sleeping on your brother's couch.
I'm sleeping on my brother's couch.
You got a second job?
No, that was it. I was trying to find jobs, bro. I couldn't find a fucking job. So I was like,
well, wait a minute. I don't believe that. You're telling me that people don't want to hire a guy that just got out of prison for murder?
Nope.
That's ideal, right? Isn't that what every job application starts with? This is what we're looking for.
What did you do? Murder? Okay, nice meeting you.
Thank you so much for coming by.
You're such a nice guy.
You know what's funny about that? Is that, do you know what has the lowest recidivism rate? Murder.
Of course.
So and I don't mean because most people when I tell them that, they're like, because they don't get out. No. Recidivism has to do with getting out and reoffending.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you for saying that.
There's almost no recidivism rate for people getting out.
When you do 20 years, 25 years,
yeah,
some type of realization occurs where you grow up, you're older, your mind, it changes. You know what I'm saying?
Drugs and fraud, highest recidivism rates.
Really?
Drugs and fraud.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
Because these guys are used to making that cash. That's easy money.
That was a part that was addicting too, though. It was like the cash and the arrogance that goes with it.
You know, it's funny. My wife said, she's like, it's funny. She said, what's better than the cash is the fact that now everybody respects you and you are the person everybody goes to. You're the person. She's like, you feel like a big shot. Like now
my wife does that too to me.
She's like, because she was a drug dealer, right? So she's like you're the person people are calling you all the time. Can you get me this? Can you help me with this? So like suddenly she's like, you're the big shot.
I got
You're
banned.
important. Sorry.
I got banned from my account, right? And my poor wife was like, Victor, you're still a big shot. You're you. Your story is your story. You can do this, right? And I'm like amazed at like how somebody could believe in me so much, right? Because of like where I come from, right? Um, like my wife is like my biggest friend, like my biggest fan. You know what I'm saying? I just feel so loved, bro. You know what I'm saying? Not just that, but like my followers, like from TikTok, these are people that don't know me that come to my story on a live and like hear my story and start talking to me and are like, Victor this and Victor that. You are so inspiring. You did this and you did that. And I'm like, I told you what I did.
Yeah.
Yet you're still here believing in me. I got fans like Emily and fucking Jen. These people come and they drop on me. Like they make big gifts. You know what I'm saying? And if it weren't for them, I wouldn't even be here right now. So if it weren't for somebody believing in me, I don't think that I could believe in myself. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
it's odd, right? Isn't it odd for people to say like you're inspiring and you feel like the fuck
like
did I do?
what
Why am I
is
inspiring?
that's my issue right now, man. Is that how am I inspiring when every day I wake up to the furnace that was my life? You know what I'm saying? Like
But
I don't know how that works.
But
You know?
people want to, they feel like, hey, if this guy can make a comeback or this guy can do the right thing and this guy can then, to them, then they feel like their problems are small in comparison to a guy that has the stigma of being
that went through
of
it.
a murder case, of a murder conviction, prison, got out, doesn't, not only do you not have a driver's license, you don't have the documentation to get the drive. So it's the process of, I got to get my social security card. I have to have that ordered in. I have to get this. I have to get, and there's just to order it, and you have to get the documentation to show them to get your driver's license. Like I have to come up with the documentation to document myself to get my birth certificate. Then I get that. Then I have to go get my driver's license. Like that is a month-long process to get those documents to be able to drive while you have no money, while you're living in a homeless shelter.
So when I was in solitary, like for 4.5 years, right? In solitary. So during solitary,
You have some time to think.
you have a lot of time to think, right? There was this book that I read, Victor Frankl. Victor Frankl is a master, right? But there was Victor Frankl. Oh my gosh, you
What
guys
is it?
should
What's the name of the book? That sounds
Man's Search for Meaning.
Oh, okay.
Man's Search for Meaning. Victor Frankl. He's a fucking amazing dude. I wish that I could have gotten the chance to meet this guy, right? But like the shit that he says and the other things that other people say too is like, I used to read psychology, so philosophy, in order to find meaning. And there was this quote that was on there, right, that talked about Socrates and Plato. Socrates was this dude full of wisdom. Plato was his student. And Plato would be like, hey, fucking, where do you get this wisdom and knowledge, Socrates? He thought that you could get it from one statement. Socrates, tired of hearing the fucking Plato, he goes, get the fuck over here. I'll show you where I mean this, right? He grabs him, starts to drown him, picks him up right as he's about to give his last breath. He goes, when you look for wisdom and knowledge the way your lungs were looking for air beneath that fucking water, that's where you find wisdom and knowledge. I think my life has been that I've been beneath water. I didn't have a choice. I had to figure out what the solution was. How do I become this? How do I change? What is it that I'm doing wrong? You know what I'm saying? It demanded of me. It didn't, you know what I mean? It was a demand. It wasn't like a choice. You know what I mean? Like when you're put in a situation where you're doing life in prison, when you come to a conclusion that the whole society has gotten together and deemed that you should be executed, you start realizing what's wrong with me, man. Why?
Yeah, there has to be something wrong for society to have decided you can't be You
a
can't
part
be
of this
around
world.
us anymore. Yeah, you have to be over here.
Like maybe you should be executed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
But
people
just in
like you
general,
shouldn't exist.
Even if
you know
they
what I'm
put you
saying?
in prison for 6 months, you've done something that's so antisocial that you can't be in society. Society has said you need to go have a little. You need to go have a timeout and rethink
Exactly.
this. We don't want you
Exactly.
around us.
Exactly.
And when
brother.
people get released from prison, the truth is, it's just because they serve their term of imprisonment, and most of society still doesn't want them around.
No.
You know, they just can't lock everybody up forever. You know, so
Exactly.
you if you're smart, you go to prison and you kind of sit back and you think to yourself, how did I put myself here? Most people go to prison and think someone else put them there. No,
That fool snitched on me.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he did that.
It's
He
always-
did that. Like, get the fuck
do you
out
think
of
it's
here.
maybe the fact that you robbed the bank?
It could have been the fact that you pew-pewed somebody right there in the front lawn. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? There's other factors for sure. Like me, bro, like I understand now fully. For the first time, though, it's weird, is that I understand I was a bad dude, bro. Like my mind. Now, do I have a reason for it? Maybe, perhaps. But there's this quote that said, I've striven not to laugh at any human actions, not to weep nor to cry, but to simply understand them. When you understand me, you can understand that there were situations that weren't easy. You know what I'm saying? And that I made the best decisions given those situations. It wasn't until I actually came out of that concept where I actually started realizing like another life exists. I have a choice. You know what I'm saying? I have a choice. This is my chance. I have a choice to show people who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? Am I a convict, a murderer? No. I'm a loving person, caring person that wants to care for people. Like, genuinely love people. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that I was deprived of, man. I didn't have that, you know? So my victim's family actually sued me.
Is this right as soon as you got incarcerated or during the period of time?
2011, after I was incarcerated.
How long? A few years?
They sued me, maybe like 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened?
They ended up taking the farm that we did this in. They took the farm, and I don't know what happened.
So, I mean, you owned the farm?
No, that was the farmers. But
So
the farmer that snitched on me, he admitted that was his farm.
So
And
you were included in the
I
lawsuit.
was included in the lawsuit. I was sued for $400,000, I think it was. And my cousin was sued for $800,000. But after 10 years, if you don't pay a dime back, they actually,
falls off.
excluded. It falls off. Thank God, because I had no idea. I thought that I was going to be done, like if I ever made money, which is another part, right? Like if you have money, you're pretty much screwed because of the cops and them. So if they want to take your money, you're not going to be successful, you know?
Yeah, if you're
gotta
owed
take your
money
money.
for if you're owed money for whatever, for a lien or something, they can a judgment. They can continually come after everything that you have for the length of. Well, typically
for
a lot of
sure.
times they'll dissolve after like 10 or 20 years or something. But I think federal, it's 20 years from the time it was filed. But I don't know what it is for. I don't know what a simple civil lawsuit. I don't know if it's 10 years or if they can go back to the court. And I know they can typically go back to court and refile it. But so you're saying there was 400,000. They took the farm. I wonder if the farm covered the whole thing.
And then they sued the apartment complex that it happened in.
Okay.
They sued them as well.
Why? I wonder how they're saying that they're liable.
Because I wasn't on the lease.
Okay.
Somebody else was, but I was paying the manager cash so that he can turn the other cheek and allow me to live there.
But you didn't participate in you didn't fight the lawsuit. You got
no.
served and you were like, whatever.
I didn't care because I didn't think that I was coming home.
Yeah.
So I was kind of in that mode where I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I was like, yeah, it's a joke because I really didn't think that I was actually coming home from prison. Like I didn't think that I was going to actually make it.
Yeah, I mean, I've met lots of guys like that where I met a guy One time, I've talked about this guy. This is the guy I met like the first day I got locked up. He had horns on his head, tattooed horns, and I'm just tats all over his face. And I was like, bro, like after I talked to him for like 4 or 5 days, one day we were talking. He seemed so normal, and one day I looked at him and I went, "You seem like a nice guy," and he was like, "Okay," and I go, "What's with the fucking horns?" And he goes, he started laughing. He goes, "Well, I got 15. I think he got like 10 or 15 years in a state prison." He said there were guys being killed every week. He said 2 weeks. He said like there's like I forget how many murders in the state prison, whatever it was. He goes, and I genuinely didn't think I was coming home. So he said, you know, I had a buddy who did tattoos.
Yeah, me too.
He said, and one day I said, you know what would be cool? Tattoos of horns on my head. Is when we found a picture. I said, yeah, like that. He goes, he tattooed them. He said, I already had some tats on my neck. And he said, the thing is he got to a point where after 15 years, he was being moved to the feds for like 5 years. He's like, now I realize, he's like, I'm coming home and I'm stuck with tattoos all over my face.
So I was going to get tattoos, my whole neck and my head. I used to shave my head.
Right.
So my head was going to be all tatted back, right? But the day that I was going to move into the dude's cell to start,
right,
I got into prison riot, and that's why these aren't
finished or
actually finished yet. So that's a bite mark right here from the cell fight. Motherfucker grab my tattoo off, and I laid his ass down, and I felt so bad about it, bro. Like I woke him up with cold water. He was unconscious, bro. Like he was unconscious. He was like completely gone, like blood all over, like scattered on the wall and shit. Like it was dark, man.
Did you lose a chunk of skin?
I sure did.
Like,
yeah,
okay,
for sure I did.
It looks like.
Yeah, of course I did. Look at that. I hit him so hard that it split right here in half. It was like a piggy bank in the front, and his eyes were like completely black. I used to fight a lot, so I was like practicing like MMA type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of shit that I went to, like for elbows and shit. You know what I mean? And that's what it was, bro. Like when I got into a fight with somebody, it wasn't like, all right, you're gonna beat me up and then we're gonna call it good.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, if you fight me, you put your hands on me, I'm gonna try to cut your life very short. You know what I mean? That's the thing about these dudes on different podcasts that talk about like, oh yeah, well, big dudes have it better in prison. No, they don't. It's about who has the least to lose. You know, that's the most dangerous individual in prison. It's not about how big you are, how much muscles you have. It's about that small guy right there that doesn't have no soul behind those eyes. I guarantee he's gonna kill you. You know what I'm saying? Or he's gonna unalive you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, what was it? The thing is, the guy you got to be worried about is the quiet
dude,
kid.
That's a quiet kid in the corner, homie. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Because that's a dangerous ass kid. Let me tell you. You know what I'm saying? And I know because I was this dude that was really kind to people, and when it came to like somebody talking shit or something, I'm like, all right, cool. But when it gets times to actually be there, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, we're not going to have that altercation where like, okay, cool, man. You win. I shake your hand and we're all good, bro. You punch me in the face and we're all good. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, we're going to have that altercation. We're going to make it extremely bloody. And if we exist afterwards, so be it. If not, well, then so be it as well. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's the way it was. You know what I mean? But when you come out of here in this world,
it's vastly different.
Not too many people are about that, bro. You're like, what the fuck?
Well, and this is civilized society. You thank God they're not.
Yeah, thank God they're not, right? Because you're thinking like, oh, this is what human beings need. This is what human beings do. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't want the world to be like that. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? People care for each other out here. People like give hand waves and, they stop for each other, open up the door for each other. Like you see a homeless, well, I do. I give them $5. I'm like, of course, there's $5, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's a life that I didn't have no idea about, bro. You know what I'm saying? God's been good, man, to me. You know what I mean?
So what are you doing now full time?
I'm doing these lives, TikTok. So, guys, Victor Gonzalez, 0511, Resilient Minds.
Another shameless,
That's what I'm hoping.
Another shameless plug.
Oh my God, Matt, really? Yeah, bro, you got to though. You got to. Because
How often are you doing these? And
I do lives every single day. It's been one of the coolest parts to actually talk to your community of people. And it's not about you like talking about prison. It's more like a counseling session for me. Like talking about my past growing up, you talk about to these people who were, bro, they believed in me since day one. Like I got usernames in my head. Candace Foster, that Michelle, Sophie, everything Emily. Like these are old school mom. These are followers that have been down for me since day one.
These are all women. Do you understand what my wife would do if I was like?
My wife is very good at it. She's like, you know what? They support you. You're good.
I'd be terrified of my wife, bro. She would be like, if I came in and said, Emily sent me $200, or I was talking to Emily on the phone, she'd be like, what?
She's like, hold on, just let me get my sandal right off really quick, and we'll get back to it. Yeah, bro, it's crazy, right? But they send you, so it's like it's cool, man, to see like it. It validates you, bro, because you're like, like you feel like maybe I'm not such a bad person. Maybe I could be a part of this community where people care for each other and you don't have to actually respond with aggressive violence. Like, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, man, we can't. You know what I mean? Fucking trauma, man.
Yeah, and we were talking about TikTok, or you starting a YouTube channel. Have you started the channel?
I have, but I want to get it started. So it started right now. I really wasn't sure what I was doing yet, but I'm like barely starting it off. Victor 20 piece.
Victor 20 piece.
Victor 20 piece. It's kind of a long name, right. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. Right? I'm barely figuring these things out. Like I don't know how to do it. Like with the TikToks, we were out here having a moment at the coast, and somebody's like, "Are you Victor from the live TikTok live?" I go, "I'm Victor." He goes, "Bro, oh my gosh, that's so cool to meet you." I was like, "Really, dude?"
It is the coolest thing, right? Like
I wanted to cry, bro.
Like,
I'm so appreciative. Like, really, dude. Like, me, like you. His wife comes on board and she's like, "Bro, that's Victor, babe. The one you've been following the whole time." I was like, "Oh, dude. Oh, that just melt my fucking heart, man." You know what I'm saying? That's cool for sure. Because, man, I stay humble, bro. I got these stupid glasses and all that shit to do this. But if you catch me at home, I'm pretty much not doing that. I'm kind of just with sandals, hanging out at home. You know what I'm saying? Having some tacos, pretty much.
So what do you think? You're kind of figuring out the YouTube.
Yeah, we're doing a book right now too, a book and a documentary. The book is where I'm hoping to make some funds. I don't know. I'm still not that rich guy, but I'm hoping to have a place like this, Matt. This is pretty nice. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I think it's above a homeless shelter.
Yeah, it's
pretty cool, bro.
A little better than that.
Yeah, these mics are pretty bad.
It's so funny. Like we were talking about, or like everything. Our equipment is slowly.
It's so cool.
Upgraded.
Yeah, when I went to Ian's podcast, I literally told him that I was in a homeless shelter. I was kind of hoping he would bite, be like, okay, maybe I could pay half his ticket.
No.
Son of a bitch. He never fucking paid a dime. I was like, you motherfucker. All right,
listen,
cool.
bro, listen, you know how many people have told me like, hey, can you this? Can you? No. There's a benefit to you coming here.
You would feel some sort of way if I had a big platform with 1 million people, and then I'm like, hey, Matthew, do you think maybe you could afford a flight?
No.
Yeah, of course, because you have 1 million people on your platform.
You know what? You know who Michael Franzese is?
No.
Michael Franzese is a guy who's got like 1 million something. He's a former mobster. He interviews people, right? He's in California. I flew out there and did his podcast. I paid my own ticket, paid for my own hotel, paid for my own Uber.
Matt, it would have been cool because you can. But when you're in a homeless shelter,
I hear you. But at that time,
that's what pissed me off.
You know what happened? Yeah. You know when I flew out there? So when I did Soft White Underbelly, Mark,
you were on Soft White,
of course.
Mark,
I'm like that, of course. Mark's.
You're a triple OG, right. Category 6. All right.
I flew out there. Do you know where I was living when I flew out there? I was living in someone's spare room. I paid my own flight, paid for my own hotel. You should have seen. It's actually funny. Bro. The hotel was actually in downtown LA. It was like a refurbished hotel. It was super inexpensive. And I thought it was going to be a shithole, but it wasn't bad.
Hey, Matt, you know, man, honestly, bro, coming from the shelter, I think that you earn what you put in. And I think that, you know, coming here with you was one of the highlights, man. Super cool. Like, I'm here with you, like with Matthew Cox. I'm sitting here with Matthew. I blew you up on my TikTok. I'm like, guys, follow Matthew Cox. We're going to Florida. We're going to be on Matthew Cox. Everybody follow Matthew Cox. And it's so cool. You know what I'm saying?
When this comes out, we'll have to make sure and tell you so you can go on and try and push the video.
I'm going to push the shit out of it.
Hey, you guys, I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos just like this. Also, we're going to, if you go into the description box, we're going to leave all of Victor's links to his TikTok, his all of his social medias, you know, YouTube, everything. So you can go down there, click on it, go there, follow him, subscribe. He's going to be having content come on YouTube. He's going to be interviewing other guys that have done prison time, guys that have interesting stories of redemption. Once again, I really appreciate it. Please follow him. Thank you very much. I appreciate it so much. See ya.